Right, folks, in this lesson we're going to be dealing with scatter plot diagrams. Okay, now let me explain what a scatter plot diagram is. Sometimes there is a relationship between two sets of data. For example, if you take the number of cars on a highway and relate it to the accident rate on that highway, these are two sets of data that may well have a relationship, or what we call a correlation. Plotting this data on a scatter plot diagram will show trends in the data, and the data could follow a straight line or linear trend, a quadratic that would be like a parabolic trend, or an exponential trend. Now let's have a look here. If you look at the linear trend, we call this linear. Now have a look here. This may well be, say, number of cars on a highway on the x-axis. On the y-axis, you have number of accidents. Okay, now look at this. As the number of cars increase, so does the number of accidents. So there seems to be a trend, but look at this. These dots can almost follow a straight line trend, and we call that a linear trend. And what we normally do is there's a line of best fit that could be sort of drawn through the points and to show the trend, and this is what we're going to explore in this lesson. Look at the quadratic trend. Okay, this is called a quadratic or a trend. It looks like a parabola. It might well be, for example, if you take the number of months in a company, and this is the number of sales of a specific product. Now, notice what's happening here. In the beginning, the number of sales increases, and then all of a sudden it starts going down. That is, and you can see it forms what we call a quadratic trend or a parabolic trend. It looks like a parabola. Okay, a nice place to be in business if you have what we call an exponential trend, because what now happens is that as the months go by, what is happening? Your number of sales is just shooting right up, and it's looking good. We call this an exponential trend. Okay, now let's have a look at an example specifically with the lines, the linear trends. An internet-based company recorded the relationship between the number of marketing emails sent per week over a period of 8 consecutive weeks and the number of products sold based on these emails. And we've got to draw a scatter plot diagram for this data and comment on any trends. Now what is happening if you look at this? Essentially, every week a whole lot of emails were sent. So in the first week, this would be week 1, 5 emails were sent. In the second week, 10 emails are sent. The third week, 15 emails are sent. So they're going up in 5s. Now, they monitored, based on those emails, did they get any sales? If you send out an email and somebody purchases your product based on that marketing email, well, great. Then what you've done is you've got a sale. So what they discovered is that the number of products sold based on these emails that they sent out, maybe it's to different schools or different businesses where they market their products. Now look at this. The number of emails would be 5, and the products based are sold on the basis of those 5 emails is 20. So we can represent this on a scatter plot. Now, the number of emails sent can be represented on the x-axis, and on the y-axis would be the number of products sold. So for 5 emails sent, 20 products are sold. So there we can put a little dot there. Okay, that's our first dot. Now, let's have a look here. The number of emails sent in the second week is 10, and they got 23 sales of products. 23 products were sold. So it's 10, 23. So we go up here, 1, 2, 3. It's about there. Okay, let's put a little dot there. Okay, what about the 15 emails? Well, for 15 emails, based on those 15 emails in that third week, 25 products were sold. So it's looking good. So 15 goes with 25. So it looks like it's a straight line. Okay, let's have a look at it. When it got to week 4, 20 emails were sent out, marketing emails, and look at the 65 products were sold. That's a good week. Okay, so for 20 we shoot right up to 65. What a pleasure. Now let's go for the next one. What about 25 emails? Then they had 30 products sold, so 25 would be up to 30 there. Now we're back down to the trend, which looks like a straight line. Okay, then we've got, let's go to 30. For 30, we've got 40. So 30, we've got 40 emails there. It's a little bit off, but it's fine. 40, for 35, we go to 50. 35, we go up to 50. Okay, so it looks kind of like a line, but let's see what happens at 40. 40 is 55. So we over here at, if we take 40, we're back there. So I thought it would have been like a quadratic, but it's not. It's actually a straight line. Now look at this. We've got a sort of a straight line trend. Okay, if that dot at 40 was sort of more around here, it would be more exponential or quadratic. But because it's gone a bit across here at 40, we've got a linear trend. Now this guy up here is referred to as an outlier, because when you consider what an outlier is, it's really it's way out compared to the others. And what this outlier probably is telling us that what happened was that due to a high demand in that week, when 20 emails were sent out, possibly in that week, they had a massive demand for that product, and so they sold 65. But it's not the general trend, and that's important in business, to establish a trend. When you get an outlier, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to have major success all the time. So the outliers we've got to be very careful with. We follow the trend, and what we can do is we can see that this trend follows a linear trend, and what we can do is we can put what we call a line of best fit, a line of best fit through the points there. And normally what we want to do is try and get as many points above the line as there are below. Okay, in this case it's not necessarily the case, but we try and see, the important thing is to see that there's a trend line that's going. Okay, in later lessons we will actually work out the equation of this line of best fit. Okay, but for now it's just to look at trends. Okay, the points on the graph seem to follow a linear trend. We can draw the line of best fit, which helps us to predict future value. So as you extend the line, you can start predicting what your sales will be as the weeks go on. And we generally draw a line through some of the points or none of the points. As long as it's through the points there, it doesn't really matter. And what we do is we will then have a line. Okay, so sometimes you'll go through the points. In this case, I've just drawn it straight in between the points there. It's the main thing now is there's a trend. It's a linear trend. It's a trend line or a line of best fit that shows that the points are going up, except for the outlier, but the other points are going up in a sort of a linear straight line trend.